This DMC daily market commentary for Thursday, the 24th of October. Hope everybody is doing well. While the Brexit headlines have cooled off, it's an ECB rate decision that would get the FX market's attention first up today. But even before that, we had some conflicting data out of Europe with mixed PMIs from France and Germany. The French numbers were particularly strong, which was enough to see euro-dollar spike from 111.30 up to 111.62 during early European trade. Although 15 minutes later we had the German PMI numbers came out, which were particularly weak, and back down. We came to 111.30. If you blinked, you'd missed it. Sterling got an early boost from the only meaningful Brexit headline of the day, with the new European Commission President-elect stating that a Brexit extension looks very good. It would appear that it's something which will be passed by the European Union without even going to any debate. Not wholly unexpected. Cable did get a rally out of it, went up to a high of 129.50, but without any great details on the actual length of the extension. We are back under 129 in short order. So as the USD begins, equity futures show some mild gains, that despite Twitter announcing some very poor third quarter results early in the morning before the bell. But it's the ECB rate announcement first up, and we go into that with euro sitting at 111.30 against the dollar. We have dollar yen at 108.65 and sterling against the dollar sitting at 128.90. As expected, there were no change in ECB rates, but as often is the case with central bank rate announcements, it's more about what they say than what they actually do. On this occasion, not a whole lot coming from the news conference. Mario Draghi reaffirmed that downside risks are prominent and inflation muted. That's a fairly standard line from Mario Draghi. It would also be the last time we hear that from Mario Draghi, as this is his last press conference as the ECB president. He also reiterated that today's decision was unanimous. Not really overly surprising, but it was enough to take euro-dollar up fairly quickly up to 111.50. It also took euro-yen up to 121.10, and we had sterling following along the squeeze higher up to 129.20 against the dollar before falling back down to 128.90 fairly quickly. Amid all this, we had some US data, some weak US durable goods data, with the headline number down 1.1%. Not too much reaction to this, but dollar yen traded a couple of spreads lower. And then it's time for US equities to open at 9:30 New York time, and they open higher on the back of European equities, and also some strong earning results from Microsoft and from our beloved Tesla. Then out of nowhere, the Dow Jones drops about 100 points to be down 50 points in the day, but the NASDAQ remains in positive territory. And most of this sort of unevenness we've seen over the past couple of days between the Dow and the NASDAQ is really due to the various earnings results coming out, and some being included in the Dow, and some only being included in the NASDAQ, etc. So that's why I was seeing a little bit of divergence between the two indices. As equities fall, we see gold spike up from around 1491 up to 1503. And then we get some strong US data, manufacturing PMI, which came in much better than expected, and gave the dollar a real boost. And that sort of set the tone for the rest of the day. We have dollar yen down initially to 111.10, and sterling to 128.5. We also had Aussie and Kiwi moving lower as well as the dollar strengthened. The only pair where the dollar didn't really benefit at that point was dollar yen, as we had traders selling yen crosses, with equities moving lower, or at least the Dow Jones moving lower. Next up, a headline that UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson was looking for a December general election. Took the market a little bit off guard. Most people were expecting him to look for a January election. Is it going to make a lot of difference? Probably not, but again, with Brexit timing, who knows? For some reason, this had the market hitting some bids, and we traded down all the way down to 127.90 before getting a bounce. This was enough to drag euro dollar below yesterday's low 111.05 down to a low of 110.93, taking out some weak stops in the process. However, as mentioned, as long before, sterling bounces back up to 128.5, although euro struggled to get much above 111.05 as we head into the end of the day. And at the close of the equity market, we had that mix with the Dow Jones down just 28 points, but the Nasdaq up 66 points. Overall, a positive day for the dollar. Whether that trend continues or not, I guess we will find out tomorrow. From a technical perspective, the biggest mover today, the dollar was the main beneficiary today, but the biggest mover or most volatile currency was sterling, which is probably true pretty much of every day at the moment. And because of that volatility, sterling becomes quite a tough trade at the moment, especially as it reacts to every Brexit-related headline. Looking at this hourly chart here, one thing you can see here is we've made several attempts over the last week or so to break above 130. 130 is not necessarily technically significant, but obviously it's a psychological level, and given we were down at 121, 122 to figure only 10 days ago, we've seen quite a strong rally in sterling over that period of time. So it's only right, I suppose, it should give a little bit back. Today's high was 129.50, so we're making a lower high. The next high, that bounce was probably only about 129.20, and then we made this low around in that 127.85.90 window, which has now formed a double bottom, going back to the low we made on the 17th of October. So we've got a line of support kind of in there now, just going forward, and obviously it probably will be very headline dependent, but I would pay attention to this line here. We've now sort of got a bit of support there. If we were to break through there, I'd be a little bit concerned that we might get an acceleration in any sell-off, and obviously to the top side, you would still expect there to be some stiff resistance at 130. And with that, I shall call it a day. Hope everyone had a good one, and look forward to speaking with you soon. Cheers.